Hello, my name is Dr. Tony Aje on this live on Wisdom Anchor. Thank you very much for coming to this new edition. Today, we are going to be dealing with some of the questions people have been sending to me. And these are burning questions from my audience from all over the world. These are real questions from real people. So I want you to stay calm, listen to each of the questions as I try as much as possible to give answer based on my own life experience. And something to explain here. I don't claim as a Mr. Know-all. Some of you out there, you may even have better answers to these questions. But what I do is I try my best to profile answers to these questions from my life experience, from my career, from my travel experience, and from other experiences I've gathered over the years. And I believe that at the end of this session, everybody will go back with one thing or the other to take home. Thank you very much. So let us go to the first question. The first question goes thus: why is it that some people do not take care of their health until they break down completely? This person went on to add additional details. She said, a 57-year-old who never knew he was diabetic until he got a punctured wound in his leg. This led to amputation before he eventually died. This is a very, very pathetic story. And I hope nobody will get to this level of degenerated health in their lifetime. It is so sad. But now, let me just mention a few things before we delve into these questions. Our health is very, very important. Like somebody said, health is wealth. For you to make it in life, you have to be healthy. For you to be rich, you have to be healthy. For you to take your careers to the ends of the world, you need to have some amount of strength in your head in one way or the other. So that is why that common sense goes, health is wealth, and rightly so. Now, there are some things that are happening in our world today. The advent of internet, the advent of people being able to diagnose themselves on Google, that is not also making things easier for people. But one thing I like to say generally here is the role our health plays in our day-to-day living cannot be overemphasized. It's very, very important. Friends, I want to tell you that if you want to really live long, you need to pay good attention, adequate attention to your health. You can't buy this in the market. You can't buy good health. There is no substitute for good health, because this is about you. This is about your life. And you cannot contract your health to somebody else. It is not something you can tell your wife to look after for you or your children to look after for you. It is you. So you have to take responsibility to look after your health. This person in question, this 57-year-old person that only discovered he was diabetic when he had a punctured wound, must have been having some symptoms before it got to this. And I'm going to take you through very briefly through some of those symptoms that possibly would have been neglected. Number one, this person could have been having excessive thirst, where you keep thirsty all the time. Even though you've just taken a big jar of water now, in the next few minutes or few hours, you are thirsty again. That is one of the signs of diabetes. Then the second one is excessive hunger. Eating all the time. You cannot satisfy your hunger. Then the third one is weight loss, unexplained weight loss. You just see yourself losing weight for no reason. You lose weight. Then the other one is going frequently to pass urine. During the day, during the night, all you see is you go all the time passing urine. passing urine all the time. These are some of the common symptoms. So I don't know if you are there hearing all these things from me today. It might be worth taking a trip to your doctor, to your family physician, to run some basic tests for you. Mention all those symptoms to them, and they know what to do. You cannot afford to wait until you have an injury that will make the doctor now diagnose you with diabetes, because it might be too late. And one of the problems with diabetes, which I believe this person had before he eventually died, is when you have diabetes, if it is not well controlled, then there is a problem with your wound healing. If you have a small wound, if it is not adequately controlled, if it is not treated on time, it can develop to a very nasty situation within a very short period of time, because when you have diabetes, your wound healing ability is drastically reduced. Your immune system is drastically reduced. Your ability to fight infection is also drastically reduced. And that is why you need to take proactive actions before it degenerates into something that cannot be treated. And let me just run you through some common conditions. Heart attack is one of the most common conditions that is killing millions of people by the day. Millions of people die of heart attack. And heart attack may strike without warning. The second one is stroke. The first sign of stroke might be the person waking up in the morning or in the middle of the night. One part of the body just got paralyzed. The speech, you discover that your speech has become slurred. You cannot pronounce clearly. That could be stroke. Or one part of your hand, you woke up or you're in the chair relaxing, just all of a sudden your hand becomes weak, your leg becomes weak. That could be stroke. Or one part of your head, your face, you discover that one face is numb, and you cannot, the movement across that one part of the body is impaired. That could be stroke. So, and the other one is diabetes mellitus, which is the one we've just talked about. Then hypertension. Hypertension is very notorious because it doesn't have specific symptoms. When you have headaches, you've taken paracetamol, you've taken ibuprofen, you've taken diclofenac, you've taken naproxen, it's not going away. You've rested, it's not going away. That could be a sign that you could be having high blood pressure. You could be having chest pain that is not going away with ordinary painkillers. That could be a sign of high blood pressure. And the other common condition that people deal with today, in our lives today, is stress. Or by far, this is the most common. We all have stress. And I'm not talking of general stress that we all have. And of course, for us to be alive today, for us to fulfill our day-to-day activities, we need basic amount of stress to drive us around. What does stress do? It drives us around. Stress is that energy that drives us to do what we need to do on a daily basis, on a regular basis. But when it gets to a certain cutoff, when that stress is more than what is driving it, then it becomes a disease. It becomes a problem. It becomes something that needs to be treated. Stress, as little, as simple as it is killing people today en masse. So we have to deal with all these conditions I've mentioned. Now, there are common symptoms you cannot just take for granted. You cannot just wave them by your hands. Number one, headaches. If you have headaches for the first time, nothing stops you from taking paracetamol, from taking simple analgesics, and see, maybe it's going to work. If you are not sleeping well, you could develop headaches. If you've not eaten for a long time, you could have headaches. If you've been at work this morning, you've not taken enough water, you've not rested, you could develop headaches. And that's not the one I'm talking about, because this type of headaches I'm talking about, once you eat, that headache's supposed to go. Once you've rested, the headache's supposed to go. But the headaches that come from something like hypertension, it doesn't have to do with rest. Even if you rest or you take paracetamol, the headache may go temporarily, but it is coming back. Once it becomes persistent, it could be a warning sign of something not good. So I will encourage you to go and see your family physician and be quick about that. Then the other symptoms that are common that people talk about, sometimes jovially, is about chest pain. Oh, I have this chest pain. I have this stuttering in my heart. I don't know where it is coming from. That could be a sign of your heart being diseased. You could be having a very serious heart problem, giving you signals in terms of that chest pain. And when you have shortness of breath too, in addition to that, or you have that chest pain moving from the left side of your heart, coming to your left arm, coming all the way to your left arm, or coming all the way to your left face or to your teeth. Sometimes you may even think it is a toothache. It is not. Once it's moved from here, it can come to your tooth as a sign. So anything that has to do with the left side of your chest is not responding to normal painkillers. And again, on top of that, you have shortness of breath. On top of that, you have palpitations. Palpitations is where you feel that your heart is beating fast than normal. Friends, don't sit down at home and be watching telly. That is not the time to be drinking. That's not the time to be watching telly. Take the next available appointment to see your family physician. Very, very important. When you get to your family physician and you tell them all these things, they know exactly what to do for you. They know the basic things like doing an EKG to check the tracing of your heart, doing some basic blood tests for you, and making sure it is nothing serious that is causing it. There is a huge gap between prevention and curing. Like I normally tell my people, when you prevent something, it's even cheaper. It saves life than waiting to cure it. Because by the time you wait to cure it, you may not be alive for that condition to be cured. You have a lot to gain to prevent something from happening than waiting for it to happen, than for you now to be running hectare-scatter to cure it. Prevention is better than cure. Prevention is also cheaper than cure. So don't play with your head. Those of us that are in faith, because I know a lot of my audience cuts across different faith, Muslim, Christian, Hindus, and different faith. Let me tell you, there is a role of religion and there is a role of your health. Don't mix the two together. When you're supposed to go for a health check, don't sit down and plead your faith and plead your religion. Don't be saying, Jesus will not allow this. Oh, in Jesus' name, this. No. Instead of you shouting in Jesus' name, that Jesus' name you are shouting should even spoil you. Should even push you out of your redundancy to go and seek for medical advice. So, irrespective of your faith, your health is very, very important. And you need to take it with utmost importance. Like I told you, headaches that don't go away after rest, headaches that don't go away after you've eaten, headaches that don't go away after you've taken simple analgesics, that headaches that keep coming back all the time. It doesn't matter. Maybe it affects this part of the brain. It affects this part of the brain. Once it keeps coming back, if it keeps coming back, recurring all the time, you need to take the next available appointment with your chest physician. Then about stroke. There could be a mini stroke before a major stroke. Mini stroke, let me explain how it works. A temporary, it happens within seconds, within very few seconds, very few minutes, and you recover. You may discover that you lost speech. Maybe you were talking to somebody and all of a sudden, you stuttered. You couldn't talk again. Or all of a sudden, you discover that one part of your face was numb, or your speech became slurred. Or your eye, you lost a little bit of vision in one of your eye. Or you discover that one of your hands is just limp. You can't just lift it. Or one of your legs, you can't just lift it. But after a few seconds, after a few minutes, there's a full recovery of that incident. Your speech came back again. Your limbs came back again. Your speech came back again. Your facial numbness, your leg came back again. Without you losing consciousness, that could be mini stroke. And that is also dangerous, because the next thing that could happen, if you don't go and see your family physician or your doctor, it could be a full-blown stroke, and that could be devastating. So friends, before I finish this session, I want you to know that nobody is going to take care of your health on your behalf. It has to be you. And if it has to be you, you must do it very quickly. Don't allow things to degenerate before you take actions. If you take actions after you've had the stroke, life may not be as it is before you had stroke. Stroke is a dangerous thing. Heart attack is a dangerous thing. Even hypertension is also dangerous, because if you don't treat high blood pressure, if you don't diagnose it on time, it can lead to stroke. It can lead to heart attack. From hypertension, you can develop other medical conditions in your body. And diabetes also, very, very important. And stress also. You need to take care of yourself. If you don't take care of stress, stress can lead to depression. Yes, if you are stressed enough and your body defense mechanism gives up, if that stress is a lot and overcomes your self-defense system, yes, you can develop depression to the extent that you might now need to depend on antidepressant for the rest of your life. But you don't want it to get there. And that is why you need to be proactive about your health. Don't wait until the last minute. Don't wait until the dying minute. A stitch in time, they say, will save 9. This is Dr. Tony Aje. This Life on Wisdom Anchor. Signing off. Thank you very much. Don't go away. I'm coming back to the next question in a few minutes. Thank you for waiting. God bless. Hello, viewers. Thank you for hooking up again. This is Dr. Tony Aje, your host on This Life on Wisdom Anchor. This is continuation of your questions answered. These are questions from my listeners all over the world. As I attempt to give answers based on my experience, professional experience, life experience, business experience. And like I said in my previous video, I don't claim to know it all. Some of you even have better answers to these questions, but I try to profile my answers as much as possible. And I believe you have a lot to learn from this. So today we are dealing with another question from another person. The question goes thus: why is it difficult for people to invest in a business while it is quite early? Meaning, when there is opening for partnership, only for people to come back when investing in that same business is more expensive. Let me frame it this way. When businesses start, or let's take the example of stock market as an example. When companies roll out their shares on the stock market exchange, usually when they roll it to the general public, it's usually very cheap. Some of them sometimes can go as cheap as, especially in Nigeria, can go as cheap as 50 kobo, 1 naira, or 10 naira, or 20 naira, or 30 naira. It depends on the company and it depends on the shares. Then they will leave that for maybe about 1 month, 2 months, or 3 months. Then you'll be surprised that after those offers, general offers are closed, 1 year or 2 years or 3 years after, what they advertised as 5 naira, for example, by the time you are going to be buying it in 2 or 3 years' time, you'll be shocked that the share price would have gone to 15 naira. Is the equivalent of the question here. When businesses start initially, people struggle to get money. They struggle to get partners where they can pull funds together. When they pull funds together, they want to see how can they start a viable business. At that time, When people have small amount of money, they can be accommodated. But when that business, after several years, has grown very big, when you come back again to negotiate partnership with the company, they may tell you, no, even though at the start we were even looking for people that even have as little as 500,000 to give us, or even 100,000. Now, if you don't have 5 million, sorry, we can't accommodate any partnership. Yes, it happens, and it happens on a regular basis. Now, the reason why it is difficult for people to invest early in business is because of the fear of unknown, and that is risk. And you won't blame people for that. You won't knock them too hard for that, because human beings by nature, we are averse to risk. We don't like to take risk at all, especially when it comes to something we don't know how it's going to be tomorrow. We are not gods. We are not all prophets that can see into the future. We are not seers. We can't predict the future. We can only have an idea of what future might be by looking at our surroundings and making some calculations, some conjectures here and there. So because we don't have full idea of what could transpire tomorrow, that is why people are hesitant in investing early in businesses. People want to see, okay, this business, I saw the signboard, I saw the signpost, I saw that they're advertising for investors. I don't know, maybe they are fake. I don't know. Maybe they are for real. What if I invest and after 1 year, the investment goes down the drain? So these are the questions that people have to deal with. These are questions that people have to answer. And because people don't know a lot about this company, they will refrain from investing. And unfortunately, if that company grows big, make a huge profit, and they start expanding, by the time you come back again a few years after that, they will tell you even there are no rooms for investment. So the bottom line is, if you cannot take risk, you cannot go far in life. That is bottom line here. Because for you to invest, there must be an element of your ability to absorb risk, to take risk. If you are averse to risk in all forms, you can't make any breakthrough. Honestly, you can hardly make it in life. And little did you know that our day-to-day lives are filled with one risk or the other. You're driving your car to your office. You're crossing the road. You're eating food. You're cooking. Even you're sleeping. Even you're sitting down on that chair. These are all risky endeavors. Who tells you that chair you are sitting on is not going to collapse on you? Collapse under you? Who tells you as you are crossing that street, a car cannot just becoming a rogue driver running from police cannot just knock you down, even though you obey all the laws? Who tells you as you are driving to your office, a trailer cannot just come, veer to your own direction and just crush you to death? With all this risk, you still drive to work. You still cross the road. You still sat down on that chair. And who tells you the next bolus you swallow is not going to get stuck in your throat? How do you know? Because you got away with it yesterday, that doesn't mean it's not going to happen today. But all the same, in spite of that risk, you are still eating. Who tells you you cannot cut your hand into two with that sharp knife? But in spite of that risk, you still use your knife yesterday. And who told you that when you are plugging your appliances into your socket at home, you cannot get electrocuted? But in spite of that risk, you still did a lot of plugging here and there yesterday. So indirectly, friends, we are taking risk. So if you can get away with those simple risks, then we need to look for that, especially for those of you that are business minded. You want to travel, you want to embark on business, there is element of risk. And if you don't sit down to calculate this risk, you may not make it in life. Life is full of risk, especially business. No matter how you calculate your risk, no matter how prayerful you are, no matter how religious you are, you cannot make it across every business you embark on. You will lose some, you will win some. Yes, you will make profit in a lot, but you will also make losses in some. All you want to see is on the aggregate. As a whole, am I better off? And that is how you should aggregate all the risk. At the end of the day, this risk I've taken, am I better off than not taking the risk? Otherwise, friends, there will be no life if there are no risks to be taken. In fact, life is sweet because there are so many risks for us to take. So, if you want to invest, you need to take some element of risk. There are some risks that are not worth taking, though. It's just like a car is coming and you still want to cross it. When that car is close to you, you can't take that risk. When you know from history, from historical perspective, that this particular business has not made profit for 20 years, and so all of a sudden they are now advertising, you want to cast back your mind on the trajectory of their operations for 20 years. And that we can tell you, that we kind of tell you that, oh, that is not a good risk to take, because there are good risks, there are bad risks. There are some risks that you don't just want to take. Businesses that have never made profit for 20 years, why do you want to invest when there are other brooding ones that are coming up? So that is going to be my answer to that question. So people find it difficult to invest in business. Why? Quite early, because they have no idea of how that business is going to turn out to be. But if you are the type that can absorb risk, you can go for it and see maybe that business is for you or not. So I hope I've answered this question, and I hope somebody out there has been encouraged, has been blessed. I will move to the second question after this short break. Make sure you don't turn the dial. You still have a lot to learn. Thank you very much. This is Dr. Tony Aje on this live Wisdom Anchor. I will come back your way in a few minutes. Thank you. Hello, viewers. Again, my name is Dr. Tony Aje. This live on Wisdom Anchor. Welcome to this edition of Your Questions Answered. Real questions from real people from all over the world. These are questions that my viewers all over the world have sent. So I am just trying to provide some answers to these questions. Like I said in my previous videos, this does not make me to be a Mr. Know-all. This is just my own version of answers to these questions. Out there, you may have better answers, but it doesn't really matter. Whatever answers you have no need to lose listening to me in this series. And I know somebody out there is going to be blessed. Now, this question goes thus. What are your must-have qualities in a best friend? I will read it again. What are your must-have qualities in a best friend? In other words, what are must-have qualities you should be looking for in somebody you call your best friend? This is quite interesting. Let us define a best friend first. It depends on the way you look at it. Your best friend can be your fiancé or your fiancé, somebody you've proposed to marry. Your best friend can be your business partner. Your best friend can be your schoolmate. So it depends on your definition of your best friend. But whichever way it goes, your best friend is somebody you are close to, somebody you see, you talk to on a very regular basis, somebody you divulge a lot of your secrets onto, somebody you don't hide anything from, somebody that we can wake up and ask of so many things about you, and the person will not hesitate to tell us so many things about you. That is a best friend. Somebody that knows a lot about you, somebody that is very close to you. That's your best friend. It could be male, male, it could be male, female, it could be in any combination. So, but the general definition is that somebody that is very, very close to you. Somebody that you can't do without talking to in a day. You can't do without seeing on a very regular basis. Somebody that knows a lot about your secrets. That's your best friend. So this type of person, what are the must-have qualities the person needs to have to qualify as your best friend? Now, let's look at it from this way. Best friendship is not about aggregation of qualities. In other words, your choice of a best friend, when you are looking for qualities that a best friend is supposed to have, you may not see aggregation of certain qualities. I've never seen a man that is created that you can cascade all their qualities. As I'm looking at her, she'll be lovely, she'll be jovial, she'll be empathic, she'll be sympathetic, she will this, she will this, she will this, she will this, she will this. No single man possesses all required qualities in life. No, there is no such thing as that. There is no human being that possesses, in fact, the qualities you possess, I may be averse to them. Those may be the qualities I hate utmostly. And the qualities I have that I project are the best because nobody has pointed out to me how bad they are. I may be projecting my own so-called qualities as the best because I don't talk too much, because I don't quarrel too much, because I don't go late to work, because I don't eat too much. I believe those qualities are what makes me to be the best friend of my friend. Whereas somebody coming into my life, somebody seeing those qualities in me, may not even see those as qualities at all. So that is life. So life is not about aggregation of qualities. It is not. And we should stop looking for some qualities in life. What we should understand about life, what should take our attention about life is to understand how relationship works. Because if you are looking to tick some specific boxes about qualities, you may run into a problem because there's no single man that can tick that have all the qualities tickable. When you are looking for this and the person has one, it doesn't have the one you have ticked, what happens? That means throughout your life you are going to be friendless. That means throughout your life you will go through life without friends. But what you need to be looking for is understanding how relationship works. The sole qualities you need from a man. The question is that, do you have those qualities in you? Do you display those qualities? I call it a golden rule of interpersonal relationship. Possess what you want others to reflect. Let me say it again. You need to possess, you need to have those qualities built in you, those qualities you want others to project. You must also reflect them. In other words, one of the qualities you want your best friend to have is to be loving, then let that quality start from you before you start demanding it. You cannot demand from others what you don't have. You can't command a certain behavior, a certain quality that you yourself are deficient in. It doesn't go that way. If you want a loving relationship, show love. If you want a trusting relationship, show trust. If you love a cordial relationship, show cordiality. If you want a man and a woman, you want a man as a friend that is so empathetic, that is so sympathetic, that cares, you yourself display it first. Be empathetic, be sympathetic, be loving. You look for somebody that is going to be so gentle in touch. Display that also. You don't demand qualities from others, whereas those qualities you cannot project. You can demand from others those qualities you yourself possess. That is the way it goes. So there's no single man that stack all these qualities. So if you have a long list of qualities that you have, that you want to get from a best friend, sorry, you may not have them, because there's nothing like that. Life is so complex. Life is full of a lot of, life is complex than, is more complex than distillizing them into sets of qualities. That is not how life works. Life is more of understanding how relationship works. When you see somebody and you want that person to be your best friend, instead of you looking for that perfect person, you can start to work together. Look for areas of deficiencies. You can fill those areas from your own angle. For example, you see a man, you see one of your work colleagues. You want him to be one of your best friends, but you discover this person tells a lot of lies. He comes late and he covers it all with lies. And you don't like it. But yet, something is pulling you. He has some other so-called quality. He has some other good aspect of his life that is not letting you go of him. Something is still sticking you with him, making you to stick around him. These are areas you can work on. Mr. John, I discovered that you always come to work late. The other time our boss was asking you, but you said it was traffic, that there was an accident that happened. But I passed through the same road, no accident. And you have given that same reason now up to 10 times. You are my best friend. I can't hide these things from you. Can we do this way? Can you do this way? Can you wake up? One of the things I do is that I wake up very early in the morning. I set up my alarm. I don't eat in the morning. I take my food with me, so that, because that can make a lot of difference. I take my breakfast with me. I entered the road early because I wake up so early. Can we try that? Because if you want to be my friend, this aspect of your life, I don't like it. And before you know it, this person that is a perpetual liar begins to change. Not that you are compelling him to change, but you are sharing life experiences with him. And that is how relationship works. Even if you convert your best friendship, your best friend, to even marital relation, it's still the same. You still need to work on yourself. It doesn't make any, maybe it's a man-man relationship or it's a woman-woman relationship. If I say mama, I don't mean, I mean your best friend in term, just with in that loose term, in that general terms. So life is not about a set list of qualities, a set list of tick boxes. Olu is good, trustworthy, not late, lovely, sympathetic, empathetic, always willing to share, and that is why I like him. Then what of you? Are you like Olu? Life is more complex than that. And I would say, whatever qualities you want a man to project, you also make those qualities to be subject of the formula of your life, subject of the formula of your behavior. You can't demand qualities that you do not project, that you cannot project. If you want trust from a friend, if you want to tick a box of trust from a friend, display trust. If you want him to be honest or her to be honest, display honesty. That is how it works. Well, this is how far I will go about this question. I hope somebody out there has been blessed. Hold on a few minutes. I'm coming back to another question in this series. This is Dr. Tony Aja, your host. I will come back shortly to take the next question. Thank you very much for staying around. Hello, my viewers again. Thank you for staying around. This is Dr. Tony Aje, This Life on Wisdom Anchor. We are dealing with questions in this series. Your questions answered. These are questions drawn from my various viewers all over the world. And I make an attempt to answer these questions, given the little experience I have since I've been around. If you have better answers to these questions, good for you. But I know that from the answers I provide today, one or two persons out there will have something tangible to take home with. The question we are dealing with this time around says, is it appropriate to allow your spouse to know the accurate amount in your bank account? Spouse here means your husband or your wife. This is a marital question now. Is it appropriate to allow your spouse to know the exact amount in your bank account? This is a very interesting question. All right, let me try to answer this. Now, there is no straightforward answer to this question. Let me start with that. There is no straightforward answer at all, because the way I do in my own marital relationship might be different from the way you do it in your own marital relationship. So I don't want to come and lord it over you that, this is how I do it, you must do it that way. It doesn't work like that. But basic things first. At the time of your wedding, or maybe during your courtship or after your marriage, what did you agree? Is it part of your agreement to be running a joint account? Or you agree to run individual account? Okay. When you run joint account, do you agree that the two of you should have equal access to that account? Or only the wife will have access to that account? Then the husband will not have access at all. Or only the husband will have access to that account, the wife will not have access to it at all. Do you agree to have separate accounts? In that way, the husband has his own separate account in his name, then the wife has her own separate account in her name. And going beyond that, do you agree to share your account details with each other? In other words, the husband's account details, wife has access to it at any time. And the wife's account, the husband has access to it at any time. Is this part of your agreement in your own family setting? Then there's also another setting where the husband maintains separate account, the wife maintains separate account, then on top of that, they have joint account. Now, do the two of you have equal access to the joint accounts? And on top of that, do you also have access to your various accounts? So, this depends on individual family settings. There are no hard and fast rules about this, honestly. If you marry today or if you are dating somebody today, as simple as that question is, it can be a problem to family. In fact, I've seen families that are troubled to their very foundation because of this type of issue. Where issue now arises, I must have access to your account. That's the husband telling the wife. And the wife saying, no, you cannot have access to my account. It's not in your name. Why should you have it? Or the other way around, the wife saying, I am the wife. Why are you hiding anything from me? I must have access to this account. The husband saying, no way, because I'm the boss. You cannot have access to my account. And that can bring a family down. So these are some of the things, as tiny as this, as little as this question seems, very, very important. These are some of the things that should be issued out, should be ironed out, that should be sufficiently discussed during your courtship and even after your marriage. Do you agree to maintain joint account or to maintain individual account? Remember to also talk about access to those accounts. My account in my name, should I keep it away from you? Or should you keep yours away from me? And if I keep it away, does it mean at no time should I show you the balance there? Because that's actually the question. That is it appropriate to allow your spouse to know the accurate amount in your bank account? Again, that depends on how much discussion you've had around accounts generally. Something like this could have been explored, could have been discussed during your courtship or early in your marriage. Because if the husband has access to your account, then the question of knowing the accurate amount in your bank account does not arise, because he can log in and check it, or he can call you how much there is and you tell him freely. And the other way around also, if the agreement is, well, I can have access to my husband's account at any time, then the question of is it appropriate for my husband to have access to my account or my wife to have it will not arise, because it will be a free-flowing thing. But when there is no solid agreement, sufficient discussion around this, when the wife is now stopping the husband from having access to account, stopping the husband or stopping the wife from knowing the exact amount in his or her bank account, it can become an issue that can destroy that family. Because the question can be extended to the issue of suspiciousness. Oh, I'm being suspicious now. You are being suspicious now that maybe somebody is giving you money that I don't know. It can move very quickly from this type of simple question to something huge that may be the crumbling factor for that family. So you need to discuss sufficiently. Are we going to maintain a joint account? If that is the case, can we have access to that equally? Okay, can we have separate account? That separate account, will I allow you to have access to it? Then will I allow you to have access to mine? Those are questions we need to discuss. And if I won't allow my wife to have access to my private account, then the husband should know, the wife should know too. So that if that thing is playing out during the full-fledged wedding, there won't be any suspiciousness read to it. There won't be any problem read to it. Before I finish this question, let me just say this. That you are married doesn't make you not to be the same person you are before marriage. As a woman, you could have changed your last name, but your first name and your middle name probably remain the same. You married your husband as a woman. That you are now married doesn't turn you to be a man. You married your wife as a man. That doesn't make you to be a woman. That you are married doesn't make you to lose your identity, doesn't make you to lose your individuality. It is just a matter of discussion, a matter of language, a matter of expression, a matter of interaction. Honey, I know I've married you. You are my Lord. I don't want to hide anything but when it comes to money management. At least I want to be able to have a little bit of control over my account too. You can have that discussion. Nothing stops you from having that communication. Communication here is the key. And your husband can as well tell you, look, this is my salary account too. Please, I only want me to have access to it. If you agree, so be it. If you have any question to ask early. Don't leave it too late. After the consummation of your marriage, and your husband will now be saying, no. These are no go areas. You cannot go anywhere there. You can't have access to this account because this is my salary account. And now, as a woman, you feel offended that probably your husband is hiding things from you. Your husband may not be hiding things from you. That may be his own different way of doing things. But because sufficient discussion, communication didn't take place before you marry or early in your marriage, that may create problem. So I see no reason why a spouse cannot know the accurate amount in the other person's account. I see no reason why that cannot happen. But if there's any reason why this should not happen, then, friends, discuss it sufficiently. Let everybody know what they are taking into the marriage. Their do's and don'ts when it comes to account, when it comes to access to account. Discuss all these things. And when you have enough of this discussion, enough communication, issues like this will not come up. When you refuse to let your husband know of the accurate amount in your bank account, that he will not take that as an offense. He will know that, oh, anyway, you've already told me anyway. I'm not interested. Don't worry. Just give me an idea of what it is. With that, you are not under any compulsion, under any serious obligation to discuss anything, because that is what you've agreed before you marry. I hope I've attempted to explain this to somebody. Thank you very much for listening. Again, I'm your friend, your host, Dr. Tony Aje. This life on Wisdom Anchor. Until I come your way next time, remember, life is complex. Remember, no matter how hard or how complex life is, it is still worth living. And I will keep saying this again. The most important person on earth is you. When you allow this to sink into your head, there is no mountain you cannot move. You are very important. Don't let anybody tell you you are not important. You are important because this life is about you. See it as if you are the only one on earth. When you have this mentality, there is no mountain that you cannot overcome. This is my way of telling you, thank you very much for listening to me. Until I come your way again next time, keep living in that atmosphere of self-belief. Believe in yourself, believe in your ability. Impossible is nothing if you believe in yourself and if you believe in God. Thank you very much. God bless you. Hello, my friends. This is Dr. Tony Aje, your friend, on this live on Wisdom Anchor. Welcome to this edition of Your Questions Answered. In this series of videos, I'm making an attempt to answer some questions that my viewers all over the world have sent. We are looking at another question this time around. And this question says, why do people believe that once a single woman acquires wealth or achieves high goals, they find it hard to marry? Let me read that question again. Why do people believe that once a single woman acquires wealth or achieve higher goals, at that stage, they find it hard to marry? Why do people believe this? That's the question. Now, let me try to answer this question. One of the ways to understand the question is to understand what is the role. Of course, what is marriage? Marriage is the union between a man and a woman. That is my understanding of marriage. Is between marriage between a man and a woman. And of course, we have various definitions of marriage today. I'm not going into those other definitions. I'm limiting my definition to a union between a man and a woman. I know people have different definitions of different marriages. But for the purpose of this discussion, for the purpose of this question is about a man marrying a woman. Now, let's look at that from that lens. What is the role of a woman in a marriage? Let us look at the roles of a woman in a marriage. The role of a woman in a marriage is that of taking care of the home. Because the face of the home is the face of the woman. It's the woman that determines how a home looks like. How? In a traditional African marriage, let me go back to Africa. We believe, and especially those of us that are Christians, we believe it is the man that usually goes out more to look for work, to fend for the family. Why the woman does less of going out. That doesn't mean a woman should not work. That's not what I'm saying. In fact, sometimes it's the reverse. But let's look at the traditional one, where it is the role of the man to go out more, to spend more time out, and the woman spend more time at home. So when we look at it from that angle, you discover that the face of the house is that of the woman. It is the woman that determines where things are arranged. In fact, when you enter a house, what you see is more of the woman. Because we men, we are not patient enough to know where is the suitable place to place a table. All we do is gra. That my table, always let it be there. That my chair, always let it be there. Let it be there. But even beyond all those initial gra, it is the woman that knows where can this one be. Because they always think beyond the box. If we have a visitor today and they enter this house, how will they feel about me? Will they make a good comment about, do we have a woman in this house? Do you have a wife? Why is it that there are litters all over the floor? Why is it that the chairs are just everywhere? A woman always have that thought. That's a responsible woman or a responsible wife at the back of their mind. Hence, they are meticulous in how houses are arranged. Not only that, in also cooking for the family. That is the primary role of the wife. That doesn't mean the husband cannot assist. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying cooking is the exclusive right or arranging her is the exclusive. I'm not using exclusivity there. The word exclusive is not there. But I'm talking of who does more of what. That is what I'm saying here. Who does what more is the wife. The cooking is the wife. The husband can assist, but much of the cooking is done by the wife. Then housekeeping also, especially when children are there. Making sure that things are done frequently to make sure that that house maintains hygiene. It is the wife. Then looking after the kids. The wife does more of that. Even if your husband stays 1 week at home with you, he's not going to stay another 1 week with you. Even though he takes over for that 1 week, you are coming back to your work. That is the tradition. These are this and some more are the traditional roles of women. Now the question is that if a woman acquires wealth and becomes so wealthy, now wealthier than the husband, let's come back to these roles. Do you think that woman will be able to cook again? Do you think that woman will be able to keep the house again? Do you think that woman will be able to look after the children? Do you think the woman will be able to keep the house in order? So that is why, this is one of the reasons why people believe that once a woman, a single woman, acquires wealth, achieves lofty heights in their careers, it will be difficult for them to find men to marry. These are some of the fears. And of course, they are genuine. But that doesn't mean that every woman now that is wealthier than the husband or that is wealthy will not be able to do these basic things in marriage. That cannot be a generalization. I've seen a lot of women that have achieved a lot in their career, that have gotten to the height of the height of the epitome of their careers, and yet they create time for all these things. And the men that marry them, they don't regret. But these are genuine fears that men have. That will they be subject to the husband? Will they still be able to at least see the husband as the head of the house? Because my faith believes that the man is the head of the husband is the head of the wife. I believe it as a Christian. That's what the Bible teaches. So genuine fears can be exercised along that line. If I marry this woman, if I marry this professor, and I'm a BSc holder, will she be able to will she take me as a husband? Will she not lord it over me? Will she be able to see me as her husband? And it's a genuine fear. So these are the reasons why people nurture that fear. Why people believe that single women, when they achieve some lofty heights, they will find it hard to marry. Because in the first instance, a bachelor degree holder will find it difficult to start talking to a professor. Look at it that way. So a cleaner will find it difficult to start talking to a lady that is controlling 2 or 3 businesses. So that is how it works. And you won't blame people for that, because the genuine fears is that if they even talk to those women, do you know how they will feel about it? Oh, come on. What degree do you have? Oh, I just finished my BSc yesterday. And I know you've been a professor for 3 years. The fear of that rejection, the fear of that incompatibility, the fear of that contradiction in quote will play up in the minds of people like that. And they will desist in even making an attempt to talk to women like that. So these are the reasons. Some of the reasons why people believe that once a single woman acquires wealth, a lot of achievement, they find it hard to marry. But friends, this is not applicable to everybody. There are so many women today that achieve their best in life and they marry. If they don't mind, they marry people of lesser class. They marry men of lower class. They marry men that are even paupers, because they understand the ethics of marriage. They understand the dynamics of marriage. Because marriage is not about who you marry. It's about what you bring to that marriage, the quality of your life. Because it is the quality of your life that play out at the end of the day in your marriage. Because what you don't have, you cannot bring to marriage. Whatever you have is whatever baggage you have, those are the things you bring to marriage. So I hope I've attempted to answer these questions, and somebody out there has been blessed. Don't go away. I'm going to treat more questions in this series. But before I come back again, my name again is Dr. Tony Aje, your anchor on this life, on Wisdom Anchor. Thank you very much. Hello, viewers all over the world, my fans all over the world. This is Dr. Tony Aje again on this life on Wisdom Anchor. And in this series of videos, We are dealing with questions. These are questions from my audience all over the world. These are questions that are answered. Real questions from real people. This is not a session you want to miss. Like I said before, I try to prefer answer to this question. That doesn't make me to be a Mr. Know-all. I'm just attempting to make answers, to find answers to this question based on my experience. Some of you have better answers. Yeah. So that is why I still believe no matter what your answers are, you still have one or two things to gain from my own interpretation of these questions. Now, the question we are treating in this edition says, why do people believe scam, Ponzi scheme is real business? Let me take the question again. We all know what scam or Ponzi schemes are. So the question says that why do people believe this type of schemes are real, are actual businesses? This is a very interesting question. Let me tell you a scam. We all know what scam is. We all know what scammers are. Scammers are people that come to tell you lies with a view to extorting you. They come and tell you, oh, there's business somewhere. If you give us 20 naira, if you give us 20,000 naira, if you give us £1, 20 pounds, we multiply it for you. We do this for you, we do this for you. And whereas, once you part with your money, that is the end of it. That is a scam. A Ponzi scheme is also a scam. Ponzi scheme will tell you, come and invest in this thing. When you give us small money, we multiply it by 3 by different factors. They can even go as far as telling you, when you give us 100 naira, 1,000 naira, we multiply by 66 times without you lifting a finger. They will even go to the extent of telling you that within 1 hour, without lifting your finger, just the moment you transfer that money to this account, just give us 1 hour. You are getting 6 times. You are getting 20 times. Not a matter of days, not a matter of, some of them, of course, can give you days and weeks. So that is a Ponzi scheme without you doing anything. Or some people even call it, there's another one, they call it pyramid scheme. They tell you, invest money, then we double it. Give money to so person, then so another person will give you money. They come in different ways. And these businesses have been around for a very long time. And unfortunately, people are still falling victims as I record this video non-stop. And I will tell you why. One of the reasons why people believe that scam and Ponzi schemes are real businesses is because people are lazy. They cannot do their homework. They are so gullible. People are so gullible today that they detest hard work. They don't want to work hard. They are looking for shortcuts. You can imagine how sweet it is. When I know how much I get in a month, let's say I earn, for example, 50,000 in a month, or I earn 1,500 pounds in a month, and somebody just flashes an advert on the telly or on the internet or through their Facebook handles. Oh, if you give us 20 or 100 pounds or 200,000 naira, in 1 hour, that 200 naira is going to be 600,000 naira. Sorry, that 200,000 is going to be 600,000. That 100 pounds is going to be 300 pounds without you doing anything. All you need to do is just fill the form, send us the form, send the money to social account, and just counting your hours. Do a countdown. And before you know it, before you say Jack Robinson, you've made 3 times, you made 4 times, you made 6 times. That sounds so encouraging. That sounds so compelling. In fact, it takes somebody that knows what he's doing. It knows somebody that understands how this thing works to restrain himself or herself. And one of the tricks behind all these type of businesses is they are so compelling. They coin those stories in such a way that you can hardly decipher any lie there. They make it so compelling. They make it so, number one, so compelling. Number two, so immediate. Number three, they make it to look as if you don't even need to do anything. And truth be told, friends, if you are told that you are going to make money without doing anything, how many of you, my audience, how many of you listening to me won't buy into it? Let's be honest for 1 second. If they tell you, give us, all you need to do is to give us 20 naira, and you are going to make 60 naira within a short period of time. It's so sweet. And that is one of the catch. They make it so appealing. They make it so effortless. And they make it so stressless, so compelling, so effortless, and so rewarding. These three combinations, these are the things that are driving this type of business. And for the gullible among us, for the lazy among us, we buy into it. And the moment your money goes in, then it doesn't come back again. And as a matter of fact, the well-organized Ponzi schemes, they don't even disappear within a very short period of time. They rake in as much money as possible. In fact, they establish some level of trust. When they tell you they are going to give you money, they actually give you money. And they run those type of schemes for a long time. A lot of people think they are going to collapse within 1 week, within 2 weeks. No, they can be there for years. They can be there for several months. And even people that invest early, let me call it invest, that put their money there, it could be true. They could have the 3 times multiplication, the 6 times multiplication, or whatever multiplication they use. And that is the catch. They establish a form of pseudo trust. I call it pseudo because they want you to believe in them, but they know what they are doing. They know they already have a set time that they will pull the rug off their client's feet. And once that day comes, they disappear. You don't see their website again. Their phone is dead. So that is what makes scam and Ponzi schemes to be what they are. So friends, your hard-earning money should not be invested in these types of schemes. They are not businesses. They are lies. These people, they tap into the current economic challenges of nations. All nations of the world are suffering in one way or the other. Inflation is on the rise. Interest rates are on the rise. People do more work, they earn less. Things are very expensive. The cost of buying groceries, the cost of fueling cars, the cost of taking care of children, the cost of school fees for children, they are all on the rise. In all nations of the world, there is no single nation that is free. So when you hear somebody telling you, oh, I pay in 200 naira, I pay in 200,000 naira in a scheme, and I got 600,000 naira within a day, within 3 days, naturally you want to go into that. And that is what drives those type of schemes that make them to last. So now that you are hearing it from me, that is not a business you want to invest your hard money in. Refrain from doing it. No matter what you are making, if you continue to do it, it becomes an addiction. An addiction is very difficult to break. The moment you buy into these types of life, it may continue to be with you for the rest of your life. You may not be able to win yourself off. If you must make money legitimately. If you need to sweat to make money, please sweat to make money. Because when the rewards are coming, you know that, oh, even though I only earn 1,000 pounds in a month, I've only earned 50,000 naira in a month. You know that this is the reward of your labor. It's not the reward of somebody telling you you pay small amount of money, then you earn some amount of money. That is akin to reaping where you don't sow. Those things, they have consequences. So friends, don't fall for those lies. Don't be lazy. Do your homework. Don't fall for those compelling stories. Don't fall for those compelling lies. They are all lies. And it's a matter of time before a scam will be punctured. It's a matter of time before Ponzi scheme, before pyramid scheme collapses. They don't last forever and they don't last long. The earlier we learn from experiences, the better we are. Thank you very much. This is Dr. Tony Aje signing off. Don't touch the dial. I'm coming back again for more questions that are answered. Thank you very much. God bless you.